Welcome to another episode of Kera Dangerous Talk. I have with me a model. Oh, wait a minute. You're not a model. You just extremely cute. It's,
No, I used to model. I used to model, yeah, a little
oh,
bit.
okay. So,
Yeah.
okay, I know what I'm talking about then. Okay.
Hey,
Former
where
model.
you dig that info up at? Uh-oh.
No, I'm just, look, it's just my eyes, baby. It's just my eyes. Look, it's
Hey.
former model, music composer, and one half of the group, the Grand Opus.
hmm
Centric, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm good. Very nice to see your face. I'm happy to have a chance to talk with you.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. No, it's good to be here, man. And it's been a long day, so this is good. Finally get to sit down and have a nice little convo. So yeah,
You know
woosah.
what? Yes, your music is very much,
Yeah, thank you,
you
thank
know,
you,
it's very chill and it sounds very commercial when you do your beats
thank you.
and production. Oh, excuse me, let me say records. Producer Troy Oliver told me don't dare call his music beats. I forgot. Sorry. Your records. I don't know if you know him, but
Nah, it's funny you say that because I was corrected back in the day.
okay.
Like I was corrected. I was calling everything I did like, oh, I got this new song and I forgot who it was, but someone's like, don't call it a song, it's a record. And I was like,
Yes.
oh, well, excuse me. Like, all right,
Cause think about it, Motown, you never heard them say a beat or anything. It was always a
right,
record, you
right,
know. And if
right,
you had a record, you had something serious, baby. You had some gold in your hand, that record,
right, right,
you know.
right,
So
right,
but you should understand that because when I listen to your music, it has this old school feel,
right.
and you have this genuine feel to your music, and I can tell that you studied some of the greats.
Thank you, thank you,
Mhm.
thank you. And you couldn't be more spot on with that. Like, because that's the intent. Like I like my music sounding that way. Because I mean, to be honest, I mean I'm not a young dude. I'm not
Mhm.
old, but I'm not young either. I'm an '80s baby, so I grew up.
Hey.
Yeah, so I grew up, with that early '90s, mid '90s, late '80s, with all those artists. So when you listen to my music, especially like with the Grand Opus stuff, with the hip hop stuff, you're gonna hear a mixture of Preem and Pete Rock and Dilla. You're just gonna hear a little bit of that in there because that they were like my influences. You know what I'm saying? So and even with the jazz, like R&B vibe that I'm doing now, you still hear like a hint of that hip hop element in there. So it's like a melting pot, man. So
It's great that you wore that hat today, or bucket hat,
oh
because
yeah.
I literally wrote down on my paper a man of many hats. And Centric, you're a music composer, you're a music producer. You are, look, you all in the videos like Sean Puffy called. You all up in the videos.
You know what's crazy? Which, cause you know what it is, man. Like, that's not even my vibe, really. Cause to be honest with you, like, I'm an introvert. I'm a hermit crab. I never leave the house. But like with the Grand Opus stuff, is like we're a duo. So
Mhm.
it's kind of like even though I'm not an artist, I'm still an artist in the group. If that makes any sense.
It
So it's
does.
like I can't not be in the video. I kind of
Right.
have to show my face, so it's a little uncomfortable, but I try to do my best and look halfway decent.
Look, I want to break down for people because, like I said, you have so many hats, and I want to break down sort of each part. You got the Grand Opus, you got Centric, what you do on your own, and you
Right.
got the music composing and whatnot. So, as Centric, when you started out,
hmm
um, California, and I'm guessing you grew up in Oakland.
I grew up more in the Central Valley, which is more like Tracy, Sacramento, that area. But I moved to the Bay Area at a very young age, and I've been here ever since. So um, the Bay Area really kind of molded me as an
Mhm.
adult. and kind of molded my music in the sense too. So that's why when people ask me where I'm from, it's automatically I'm like in the Bay Area, Oakland, San Fran, like. So yeah, you could basically say that's exactly where I'm from.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, when you started out as a young kid, I know you just grabbed music right away,
Right.
but you had to make some sacrifices. And it reminded me of my sacrifices that I've made. Tell us a little bit about that, how you were different from the children your age.
Um, that's a really good question. I think it's because I was just always in tune. Like,
Mhm.
like my mom and my dad, my dad rest in peace, but they used to play records, all kinds of different genres, like around the house, when I was growing up. So I heard everything from soul, jazz, new school. I mean, they would, rock. So, my mom would play the Bee Gees, and then all of a sudden she's playing Heavy D and the Boys. You know what I mean? Like, it was such a mix. And I was hearing
Yes.
this at a young age, and I just fell in love with music really, really young. So, growing up and being around other kids, when I started talking about music or getting in that mood, and they didn't care. They didn't know what I was talking about. So it kind of made me feel like the odd man out a lot. I was kind of looked at as being a little weird, you know what I mean? Because, here I am 12, 13 years old and talking about James Brown, and these kids looking like, what? Like, what? What are you talking about? They don't, they can't relate. So it made me feel a little weird. But as I got older, I started to, kind of come into my own, and people started to appreciate that I had this knowledge of music. So it balanced out the older I got. But as a kid, I was looked at as like the weird kid.
I want to go back to those moments you had to make a sacrifice. Did you really know what you were doing? Because you were setting yourself up early for what you wanted.
Right. I had no clue. I didn't. I had. If you were to ask me as like a teenager, um, would I be doing what I'm doing now? I would have looked at you crazy. Like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I love music, but nah, I just wouldn't have thought that because, I never thought of myself as a participant. I was always just a listener, just a fan. So it's really been like a crazy ride. Like it's been, because when I started getting involved in music, my goal in my head was to end up collaborating with people that I used to listen to. So if I could just knock off a couple people on that list, I felt like I made it. Like, so, growing up listening to, some of those, legendary hip hop people, and then ending up doing songs with them later on, is like, it's a little surreal, so.
When did things pop off for you? When did things pop off for you? So you started young working on your music, and
Right.
did you know how to play instruments?
No, not at first. Not at first. The first thing I learned was the MP, the
Okay, yeah.
MPC. I learned how to chop records and doing all that. I really didn't start tapping into instruments later on. So it's funny you bring that up, because if you listen like to a lot of my older stuff, it sounds like more electronic. It sounds more pad based, more keyboard based. But if you listen to my music now, you hear horns and drums and saxophones and all this other stuff that I brought into later on. So, yeah, the live instrumentation didn't come till later, definitely.
Well, when did you first get your little bit of, I don't want to say buzz. When did you actually start to, I guess, who was the first person you worked with where you could say, "Oh, I'm actually doing something here"?
Coogee Rap.
Coogee Rap. Okay, legendary right there.
Yeah, because what happened is that when I first started out, when I first started actually creating, this is when Ninth Wonder and them was popping at the time. And the Justice League was like a super underground dope movement, pretty much, when I first started. but I learned quick, and I kind of learned off Ninth, and I kind of followed some of his techniques. And it got to the point where I got so good that I actually started collaborating with a lot of members of the Justice League. So I did songs with Median and Big Pooh and you know, all those guys. And from there was when I reached out to Cool G. And I really didn't expect him to reply, because I mean, a lot of times you reach out to, you know, artists or anybody that you think is on a higher level than you. In the back of your mind, you probably thinking, they ain't going, you know what I mean? Like, they just gonna ignore my email or my DM or whatever. They ain't gonna respond to little old me. You know what I mean? But what I did was I found his management, Cool G Rap's management email. And instead of just introducing myself, I mean, I introduced myself, but I attached some beats to the email.
Right. Okay, they like beats, those records. So
right. So I don't know if he listened first or someone else listened and was just like, hey, this producer from Cali just sent some stuff, but he liked what he heard. And that's how the collab came. And then, you know, after that, it really boosted my confidence, because I felt like, oh, okay, so this is possible. I can do this. You know, if G Rap is feeling me, okay, you know what I mean? Like, what, you know, what other possibilities is out there? So I started sending everybody. Sending everybody beats, and that's how the collabs came and all of that. So
yeah, you had a lot of great collabs. Cool G Rap, like you just mentioned, Black Rod, Whoa, rest in peace. Sean Price, who,
oh man,
I see people post him now, you know, even after his death, and you know, shout out how great he was and his lyricism and everything. Right. Mr. Fab and Swizz Beatz. You work with Swizz Beatz.
Yeah. The Swizz Beatz thing is kind of like, I wish I would have been present. And this was a record that was done years ago. And I think I was working with an artist out of Brooklyn, and his friend was doing a record with Swizz, and his friend was like another producer or something like that. So they was working on a record, and they reached out to me to add some things to the production. So, and I got the song on my laptop, man, and it's crazy, because when I listen to it, you're hearing Swizz Beatz production, but I'm hearing what I added in there too. So, I mean, that was a little surreal too, man. Just for them to think that I was good enough to be included in a Swizz Beatz production was like, okay, thank you. You know what I mean? Because I mean,
Swizz, that's your shoulders off. Okay.
Here. You know what I mean? Swizz up here, Timberland up here, Pharrell up here. So to reach out to little old me, like, hey, could you add some drum sounds to this, or could you do that? I'm like, yes, anything y'all need. So yeah, that was that. But yeah, it's been great last couple. And the cool thing is that because of the connections I developed early on, I was able to reach out to these people during the Grand Opus years. I mean, we're still in the Grand Opus years. We haven't put out anything in a while, but you know, we're still a group. You know, we're still rocking together. So, and Jock is an incredible MC. He's one of the best MCs I've ever worked with out of Fresno, California. And so, you know, a lot of the people that he listens to and that he likes, you know, when we're working on our stuff, he's just like, do you have that connect? Can you reach out? You know what I mean? So, you know, and he knows his people as well. So, you know, it's cool being able to get legendary MCs on your records. You know.
Now I see you collab with Rob. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of people had a lot of feelings, you know, the way he died in the hospital and whatnot.
Right.
Did you actually work in the studio with him face to face?
Nah, it wasn't face to face. It was via the internet. The internet. But you know, we had a long email string. He was going back and forth. I got to pick his brain a little bit. You know, and then when I heard about him passing, it's just like, you know, like, wow, you know, and it's really weird. It's not weird, but I don't know how to explain it, but there's a lot of hip hop artists that I've worked with and done records with and had a dialogue with, and they end up passing not too long after that. And it's just like, it just makes me appreciate, you know, the time that dialogue was going on. And it just reminds you that life is short. You know what I mean? Same thing with Sean Price. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's crazy. You know, and then also on one of my first mixtapes, I had, I don't know if you're familiar with Patrice O'Neal. He's a comedian.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I was trying to bring his name up to somebody just the other day. Could not remember his name for the hell of it. That dude was so funny. And I was mad that he passed away because I don't think that he was able to reach how far he was going to go.
Right.
He was about to be a problem out here.
Oh, yeah. No, he was a legend. And like if you hear other comedians speak about him, they all could testify to that. Like Patrice time was short because he was a legend in his own right. But in one of my first mixtapes, Patrice did the whole intro.
Wow, that's
like,
a blessing.
It's just an intro of him talking about me and cracking jokes for like 3-4 minutes long. So
that's a goal to have.
Right. And if you if you dig deep on Google, you could probably find it. It's called Street Soul, the mixtape. And that intro, it's all Patrice. So, you know, and he's another one that passed. So it's just you got to value the people in your life, you know, whether it's artists or your family and friends or whatever, because you just don't know, you know, life is short.
Well, you know what? Rest in peace to all those people.
Absolutely.
Great point you just said. Value conversations, value people in your life. I'm valuing this conversation that we're having right now, this talk. But, you know, one thing I have to say is I want to give a shout out to all the viewers right now. Make sure y'all get that live chat jumping like y'all did last night. Oh, my God. We had an awesome time talking about the passing of Kevin Samuels on Kera Dangerous Talk last night. But you know what, Centric? You are here at Kera Dangerous Talk, but I got to really introduce you the way that it's supposed to be done right. So here we go.
Let's go.
Love it when you talk. Hey, don't act like that ain't no bop now. Don't act like that ain't no bop, Centric. Look, that's Kera Dangerous right there. Don't act like you don't know.
And I was like,
look, get it right now. Get it right.
Okay, but you know what though? It's interesting that you say that, because now I got a question for you. Is that an avenue for you? Do you create? Are you on the mic like that?
Oh yeah, trust me, I was gonna DM you after the show. I started rap when I was 9 years old. So
okay, so yeah. You sing or you got bars?
Bars.
You got
bars. Oh, yeah, I wish I could sing, but I can't. Shooby doo boop. No, it's not good.
Okay, so a collab is a possibility then, right?
Boy, don't play with me. Don't play with me.
I'm just saying, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, okay. Right down your alley.
Okay.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm gonna hold you to this, right?
I'm gonna hold you to it.
Okay.
That's what you gotta be worried about. I'm gonna hold you to it.
Watch, I'm gonna shoot you something. We gonna do something. We gonna do something.
I'm excited about that. And you know what? I'm glad you brought it up. You're a producer, but you're one half of the grand Opus. And I want to give people a sense of who you guys are straight from you guys' mouth. Check this out.
Like I said, me and my dude, essentially, we came together with our own brand of hip hop in the same vein as, Eric B. Rakim, Gangstar, P. Rock, Seal, Smooth, and even Oakland's own Black Delicious, you know what I'm saying? Everybody plays their part in this culture. And before I leave here, Centric, I'm gonna let you know exactly what I do. Gangsta rap for a trapper, or actor, the Mr. Factor, spit a psycho, natural disaster. Microphone master, like the focus on stacking. Son of Apollo, creed to assassin. Monster master in G fashion. Cross seas after, book glasses, with an African accent. To keep
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Look, I ain't want to give them too much, but
Nah, don't
you
give them
guys
too
got
much.
that old school. It reminds me of like Wu-Tang type of flow right there on that
Right.
one.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah. Thank
Your
you.
last project was in 2021,
Right.
the season, and I want people to read the title of these songs. Okay, watch and observe, plan, plot, strategize, time capsule, hold your head up, activate, cultivate culture, work in progress, family ties, higher frequency. Why do you think I said that, Centric? Why do you think I
Um,
said pay attention to the titles?
I I'm gonna take a wild guess here, but I think the titles, and not just with that album, with most of our albums, the titles of the songs, they're usually powerful names, powerful, statements. The titles are statements in themselves. It's usually uplifting,
Mhm.
um, positive, um, type of vibe you get from our song titles, and which makes sense because that's the kind of group we are. I mean, I don't know if you
Mhm.
noticed, but with all of our albums, there's not one curse word in like all our albums, not one.
That's amazing. I
Not one.
tried to be like that at first, but then I said, screw it.
But the crazy thing is I don't think it's intentional. Like we never had
Mm.
that conversation. Me and Jock never sat down and said, you know what? Every single song we do, no cursing. We never said that. It just, Jock as an MC is just so righteous and so positive. It
Mhm.
just, those words just don't come out of his mouth. So it just happens
Wow.
like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, your grandma could listen to Grand Opus, could listen to Grand Opus.
That's dope though. That is very dope. When you're with Grand Opus or when you're just making records for whatever other artists you want to work with, do you attack your studio time in a different way? Your production?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's a really good question, and
Mm-hmm.
you're right. It is totally is different because when I'm working with Jock, I first of all I've known Jock since I was like early 20s. I'm like late 30s now, so I've
Mm-hmm.
known Jock for a long. I practically grew up with him, so he's very familiar with my style, my sound, and I'm familiar with what he likes. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, and what in his style. So when I give him production, for Grand Opus projects, it's a good chance he's gonna like it because I know what he likes. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I really just gotta. It's like, well, I know when I'm making it. Oh, this is gonna be for Grand Opus. But when I'm working with other artists, sometimes I'm not really sure. So I gotta really pick their brain and see what their vibe is, what they want it to sound like, and then kind of start from scratch and go from there. So it's kind of like, there's more question marks when it's not Jock. Um, so you know.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a model. Look at him giving us face. Look at
I,
it, boy. You better work. You better work, boy. Don't be
man,
bashful now.
man. No, I actually I did that for like 2.5, 3 years, and it was
Mhm.
for a sports clothing company here in the Bay Area. I was doing their ads and stuff, and it was okay, but it got to the point where it was like getting in the way of music time.
Mhm.
So, and music is far more important to me. So it got to the point I was like, you know what? I need to just let that go because it's getting in the way of my music. So,
Speaking of your music, this is just a little video to show people how you actually vibe behind the board.
oh no. That
Hey,
head bob though, the head bob
it
is
was
on
right on
point. The
beat.
head
Don't
bob
even
is
need the
on point.
metronome. Look,
That head bob is on point.
yes, it is. I have a quote from you that really really puts what I was just asking you. It really puts it out there. You were quoted saying, "Without music, I can't imagine my life. I gave everything to it."
Yeah,
That's a powerful statement.
yeah, yeah.
Everything.
It's a damn near. It's
Mm.
damn near, and I'm still doing that.
Mhm.
I'm still doing that. And I think um that's why I'm so sensitive about it, because I've dedicated. Anyone who knows me knows that. Yeah, I mean, who truly knows me knows that I give it all my time, all my energy. It's all I talk about. Like, there's certain people that have a hard time talking with me because at some point in the conversation, I'm talking about music.
Yeah, like,
And
well, you can shut
sometimes,
up. Just
yeah, and most of the time, and sometimes these people could care less about music, so they get a little, like, it's weird talking to him. But anyone who knows me, it's always the topic of discussion. I'm always talking about my music or someone else's music. I've, I've made money off music. I've gone broke trying to fund my music and market my music. I've been through every emotion. So, and I'm still going through it. I'm still doing it. I'm still going through those ups and downs, and all for the sake of my music. So that's definitely a true statement. I give it everything. I really do.
Well, speaking of that, was the first quote. I used to play this game on here called Quote. So let's just get right into it. Another quote that you said was, "You get a feeling from a song that you can't put into words." You said that during your This Is 50 interview.
Right.
You
Right.
can't put in words. When I'm writing my lyrics, I spill my guts.
Right.
So you're very honest in your production
Oh,
making.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, we
Absolutely.
always hear being honest as a songwriter, but what is being honest as a producer?
Making what you want.
Mm.
That's the simplest way I could put it. Um, I've never had the desire to cater to a certain sound or a certain genre because it was popping at the moment. You know what I mean? Not that there's nothing wrong with that, because sometimes there's a bag attached to that too, and there's nothing wrong with getting your money. But music is I don't look at music as music can be a tool for money, but I don't look at it that way. For me, it's like, I feel like the way I go into it, I need to make everything my heart desires creatively. And if there happens to be a bag attached to that, or that comes from that, then that's just the icing on the cake. But I'm not going to change my style or just do what's trending. I'm going to make what's in me to make. So I think that's how you stay true to yourself as a producer. You know what I mean? Or just as a musician, period.
Now, this next quote, is the topic is right on producing. You said, when you build a song from its opening to its outro, you have a chance to build a medium for someone, a release that could bring them relief from their own emotions. That's
Right.
pretty deep. You
Yeah.
understand the profound effect that music has on people.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of times, not just producers but artists, they forget a lot on the impact that music can have in someone's life. Like, they forget that people are actually listening. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not just listening, like, it's not just going in one ear and out the other. Like, people are actually listening. They're listening to the music, to the words. They're actually listening. So, you got to be careful on what message you're putting out there. And I
I
think
want to say, for everybody that's joining us right now, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. Like button. I said last night I wasn't gonna say burden anymore. I realized, as a southerner and somebody who's very country, I was saying burden. But don't forget to hit the like button and leave us some nice comments. And thank you for joining the live chat. Now, it's a lot of people who know about you in this industry, and I just want to know. Well, I'll show you this video first.
Send, it's your boy Mark, man. What up, yo? This is Case, y'all. What going?
Straight.
Yo, Centric, what's up? This is Dante Bosco, Rufio. Send you a big shout out. Send you mad love for the new album, High Power.
You owe me some money when you get through with them projects, man. Do what you do. Make a lot of noise. But send me my money, cause I...
What up, Centric?
Yo, I gotta say what's up to my man Chris and your family up there in Oakland, California, one of my favorite places.
Centric, what up, my brother? I see you in the Bay Area, all right? Now listen, I'm gonna tell you what I think you should do. Keep grinding, keep moving. Don't let nobody get in your way, all right? Do your thing, my brother.
Everyone can't come up here. Everyone can't come up here. Bars. That was Funk Flex at the end
That
of
was
it.
Flex, yeah. Shout out to Flex, man.
So you definitely got some industry love. Why do you think people really bump with you? Because even Joe Scholar, the other half of your group, Great Opus, he said you're a very genuine person. Is that really all that it is? Why do you think people connect with you?
Honestly, I think that's most of it. I mean, I'm just myself, and I come off real sincere and real musical. Like not that I haven't really tapped into the industry, like the big industry, like like the limelight. And to be honest with you, I don't even know if I want to get to that point, because there's a lot of there's a lot of weird stuff that come along with that.
Oh my God, we're gonna talk about that.
Oh, we gonna talk about it. Yeah, we're definitely gonna talk about it, because there's a lot to talk about.
Oh my God.
I just come off real genuine, and it's always been about the music for me, and just the music, just the music alone. And I think people sense that, and they can appreciate that. So it's easy to kind of just show love. You know what I mean? But shout out to everyone in those videos. Yeah, man, I'm a people person. I love everybody.
How do you stay calm in a room full of vultures? You just kind of alluded to the fact that the industry at a level gets a little weird. Right. Now, in saying that, I get a sense that you're a good person. How do you deal with the parts of it that isn't good? The devil's in the room. How do you stay put together?
You're gonna laugh, but the way I do it is I don't go into the room.
Okay. So you're not the girl in the scary movie. You're not running back into the house.
Yeah, I don't go into the room, because I mean, you hear a lot of people say, "Oh, the deeper you get into the industry and deal with, especially when you start dealing with a lot of the corporate people, there's a lot of shady business and things going on." I just keep my distance. I really do. I don't feed into all of that, because I feel like when you start doing that, you start to lose yourself a little bit. So, I'm in my corner. I'm in my quiet little corner creating, and I'll toss some music out there, and then I go back in my corner. You know what I mean? Like I don't get involved like that, because it gets crazy.
Like for instance, we got Cardi B, who she's had several outbursts, and I like Cardi B at the end of the day, because she allows herself to be human. But she just made some comments and saying that if she could clap her heels like Dorothy, she would go back to being non-famous, because she said you can't do anything when you're famous. She can't tell a joke, people get offended, and she just said she's not comfortable in that life.
Right.
And with you producing and you having such a talent, I mean, what do you feel about when you hear another artist say that? Because it made me think, because you hear every now and then a big artist will come out and say something like that.
Right. And I heard about that. I heard that she had said something like that, and I was like, I kind of threw my shoulders up. I was like, yeah. That's what happens. That's a package deal. That's what comes along with the limelight. That's what comes along with millions of eyes on you. You know what I mean? You can't make a move. You can't go nowhere. You got to have security. You can never say the right thing because someone's offended. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it comes along with the territory. Now, if it's worth it to you, then great. But, there's a lot of people that just, they don't want to deal with all of that.
Do you think
And
it's a way to coexist with the craziness? Do you think you can actually make it to a big level without having to
I
be under
think
so
there's a
much
way.
stress?
There's definitely, I don't think it's not common, but there's
Mhm.
definitely a way to do it, because if you really think about it, there is a few celebrities or high profile artists that have found a way to remain at that level, but
Mhm.
not get caught up in the BS of it all too. So, which is really special. I mean, if you can master that, you good to go.
Absolutely. Now, going to the last quote here, and we talked about your early influences, but I'm bringing this quote up for a specific reason from your I Am Hip Hop interview. And shouts out to I Am Hip Hop because they reposted part of my interview with Royce the 5'9". So I'm not mad
Nah,
at that. We
dope,
worked together on
dope,
this blogging thing. Okay.
dope.
So here it is. The earlier stars gave hope to people like me. They paved the path for us, and all we can do is keep their struggles and goals in our head and create music that celebrates freedom. I thought that
Hmm.
was beautiful, Centric.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, exactly that, exactly that.
celebrates freedom. What do you mean by that? That's what really
Um,
touched me when you said that.
well, cause well, the freedom. Well, it depends on how you look at music. I look at music as freedom,
Mhm.
um, and kind of like alluding to what we were talking about earlier. If you stay away, if you stay out of that room, I think you keep a lot of your freedom. Because when
Mhm.
you enter that room is when you start, they start trying to control you. Um, so if you could stay out of that room, then I think you're good to go, because I mean, music is a form of expression. It is freedom. Comedy is freedom. You know what I mean? Music is freedom. These are all forms of expression where you can make what you want, based off how you feel. You know what I'm saying? And that's powerful. And I think the goal is to keep that. No
Mhm.
matter how big you get, you got to keep that sense of, I'm not controlled and I'm going to make what I want to make, and do what I love to do. And so there it is right there.
Where are you now in producing? Because you have a song right here. So it's actually on the charts, and I need to go back to saying that word records. Always on my mind. Over 68K on Spotify as far as streams in 7 weeks.
Yeah.
And like I said, you hit the charts. Was it the soul charts?
Yeah, it started, it was one of the breakers on the soul charts. And then also, not only that, when it first hit, I mean, it was like top 10 on a lot of different charts, actually. And I have some more promotion behind that that's going to be coming in the next couple of weeks. So there's going to be another big push. But that's the last single that I'm putting out that's going to be on
Mhm.
my full project that should be coming out at the end of the year.
That's a really nice song.
Thank
Really
you.
nice song. And I want to bring that up because do you consider this jazz? Because I know you said you was getting into a little jazz. What do you consider this track right here that you did?
Um, it's uh, this. You know what? It's more R&B soul,
Mm-hmm.
but it has a jazz element to it. Because of the instruments and the production, and because of Kenya. Kenya is actually not really a R&B soul singer. She's a jazz singer. So, with her on the record, and then with the way the production sounds, it has it has a jazz element. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
because she's singing on it, and we got T3 on it, you
From
got to
Slum
put it in.
Village.
Yeah, from Slum Village. You got to put it in the R&B soul category, but it's a jazz feel to it. Absolutely.
I have to say, I like your other. You have a single out. I want it. I
Oh
love
yeah,
that track. And then, but I really, really like the one titled "Timing." It just
yeah,
reminds me. It really sounds like it reminds me of Chris Brown production. Like that's what I
right,
hear in it. Very commercialized, a smooth track. Something
right,
you can just
right. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
vibe out to.
I got a story behind that too, because actually, when I put Timing out, I put out that randomly. That wasn't even supposed to go on my project or my album. It was more to buy time while I work on my album. because when you working on a project, during that period, you're not really putting out any music because you're working, you're building up to something big. So I've been working on this project for so long. I said, I had time in just laying around. I said, let me just put this out so people have something to listen to buy me some time while I'm working on Love Received. And the feedback that I got from Timon was so good. Everyone's just like, yo, like this song is dope. Like this is crazy. So I was like, okay, you know what? I am going to put it on my,
You made a good decision, because I'm telling you, I really like that one. That's a banger. A smooth banger.
And me and CJ, the young man who was singing on that song, shout out to him. We've actually discussed, or not in detail, but we kind of have this idea that maybe work on like a full project. Me and him along
that'd
that
be nice.
line.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
guys, you got to go check that out. I always tell people Spotify, because that's normally where I listen to my music.
Yeah,
but
me too.
On any platform.
Yeah.
I hate to give them free promo. They don't really need it, but hey, Spotify, if you need somebody for your commercials, I'm your woman.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, got it. Hey, network.
That's right.
Network it out.
Look, what do you have in the pot for Grand Opus? What's next for you guys?
Definitely. But we have a single that we haven't put out yet. It's a really dope song. It's called We Rise. And actually the CJ singing on Timon is featured on the single, on the Grand Opus single. Yeah. I don't know. We don't really have a specific date on when we want to put that single out, only because we've been kind of busy working on our solo projects. Jock put out a solo album. I'm working on Love Received. I just put out Always on My Mind. But when the dust settles a little bit with our own stuff, we're going to come back as Grand Opus and definitely deliver some more great stuff.
Bring it back on in.
Bring it back home. Yeah, you got to bring it back home.
If we putting a button on Grand Opus as far as this show go, I'm going to show this video so people can just get a sense of how you guys get down.
For dope fiends, this is codeine flow, supreme glow. El Nino, split the clouds where the green glow. Mike Master, manifest the master lessons. Jewels and blessings, schools in session, West Coast connection. Professor X from the X-Men, rolling with Chuck D. That's me, eternally yours through these scores. Pour from the reservoir, cup runneth over, kept kosher. Was cut from a cloth of soldiers.
You've been able to carve a nice lane for yourself. You've been able to ink some highly influential licensing deals. Okay, you've had your music placed on TV, and that's a great way to make revenue as an artist. That a lot of artists maybe don't even know to tap into that.
Absolutely.
How wonderful has that been to see your music on TV?
It's been great, but I think what you just said was right on the nail. You said a lot of artists don't tap into that. And I preach it all the time. I always tell artists and producers, like, look, like there's a big gray area when it comes to music. There's a gray area between making music out of your basement, not making no money, and being Drake. Like there's a big gray area, and music is played everywhere. I mean, it's played on commercials. You walk into Kmart, or I don't even know if Kmart's still around, but Target,
right,
whatever. And the grocery store, and you're hearing music. You know what I mean? And a lot of it isn't like top 40 radio hits, but it's still music. And someone is creating this music and getting paid for it. So, licensing and sync deals is definitely an avenue that I encourage for producers. I'm linked up with a licensing company called Marmoset out of Portland. And yeah, I mean, the some of the sync deals and licensing deals, VH1, MTV, BET, OWN, the US Olympics, Wendy's, Nike, the list goes on and on.
Big hitters.
Yeah, and like you said, the money from that is not too shabby, if I should say so myself.
Yeah, you know what? I had my song when I worked at ESPN on First Take and NBA Finals on ABC.
Okay.
But they didn't want to hit me up with nothing because they tried to say it was a conflict. So I was just happy to have my song on. I was just supposed to be happy to have my song on the TV, which I was, but I still needed the money. But hey, whatever. but it's a story that I do want to tell you.
Yeah.
For everybody that just joined us, please hit that like button and thank you. And subscribe to Kera Dangerous Talk if you haven't already. I want to tell you a little story though. It was an email that I rarely checked, and I think it was connected to my old website. And it was like, was it like it had to be more than a year. I don't know if it was something crazy, maybe 2 or 3 years later. I got a email and it was from Oxygen TV. And the music director wanted to use my song for the Bad Girls Club. And I found this guy. I looked all over the internet for this person who wrote me this email. The crazy thing is the guy actually graduated from the same college as me, Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida, right? The music school, entertainment school. And when I contacted him, he was like, he didn't even work there anymore. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
And he was telling me he wanted it to be a part of a whole album because they like to promote whole albums, but it was just a single for me, the song that he wanted. But I felt so crazy that I missed that opportunity.
Wow. I bet you checking all your emails now. You're not
right after that, I checked and nothing came through, but nothing came through. But yeah, definitely check. I'm checking the spam box now, you know, because some people may just make a mistake and go in your spam. But so I should tell all the musicians out there, check all through your mail. Okay, check all inboxes.
No, that's what I've been doing. I used to just automatically delete whatever's in there, but now I take a look at it first just to make sure ain't no important stuff.
And see, even though I didn't make money from my song being on ESPN, they that music director saw my song on ESPN, you know. So it's just like, you know, I was an opportunity did show up, but I just wasn't able to grab it. We just lost the producer.
I'm back.
He back. You never know what's gonna happen.
I'm back.
So right now you got this wonderful song with Kenya and T3 from Slum Village out.
Yes, sir.
And you have I Want It out. And people can still listen to Grand Opus The Season, your 2021 album.
Right.
All in all, you told us what we can look forward to with Grand Opus. What about you as the producer and music composer?
Love Receive. Coming. Mm-hmm. The goal is to put it out at the end of the year or towards the end of the year. Mm-hmm. And it's basically a compilation, a soul compilation produced entirely by me. Mm-hmm. Vibes is on there. Sunday Drive is on there. If you've heard those records, Timing is on there. Always on My Mind is on there. I got a record with Raheem Devon. That's on there.
He was on this show before. That's my boy, Raheem Devon.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Shout out to Raheem, definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely. But it's my masterpiece.
Yes.
And I think I'm really happy about it. I'm excited about it. So yeah. Grand Opus.
The Love King. I know he don't rip the song for you. Then I know that boy be going off on them.
Actually, you know what? He's rapping and singing on our record.
Oh wow! Okay, Raheem.
Yeah, I got him to do a little. You know, y'all hear y'all. Yeah, you'll see.
He done turned into Raheem with the little speaker box from the Spike Lee movie. He say he rapping now. Okay, Raheem Devon. He covering all bases.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's so dope. He's just dope, man.
Well, I tell you what, you make sure you stay on the line because I want to chit chat with you, even if it's just for a minute here. But
no doubt.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. I think we learned a lot about you today. What you think, Centric?
I think so. I think they got the whole story in this one. Definitely.
Absolutely. You a beautiful soul, beautiful spirit. And I wish you much success in all your goals and projects.
Likewise.
Thank you so much. You guys already know what it is. This is Kera Dangerous Talk, and we out of here.